We've all got them in our lives. Those people who are just kind of difficult. It can be so frustrating, right? And just exhausting. But what if there was a way to not just deal with them, but to actually connect with them, to really get what makes them tick? Well, that's what we're digging into today, a whole new way of looking at those prickly personalities.
Go ahead. Think of someone right now. Maybe it's that coworker who's always on the defensive. Or, that family member who can find a cloud in any silver lining. That friend who just seems permanently cranky. We all know someone like this. And being around them can feel like walking on eggshells.
The book that inspired this explainer, How to Hug a Porcupine, gives us this perfect metaphor. And it's a really powerful way to reframe how we see these people. Not as just mean or malicious, but as something else. Something that, believe it or not, actually makes a lot more sense.
So what is it that makes a human porcupine so prickly? Well, to figure that out, we actually need to look at the animal itself. And the parallels are pretty wild. They reveal the why behind all those defensive moves we see.
Okay, check this out. A real porcupine, when it feels threatened, its quills stand up to make it look bigger and more intimidating. The human porcupine, they just raise their voice. The animal rattles its quills as a clear warning sign like, hey, back off. The human version uses harsh, aggressive language. In the final last-ditch effort, a porcupine charges backward to protect itself. Sound familiar? That's the exact same instinct that makes a difficult person start blaming everybody else. It is all a defense mechanism.
And here it is, the most crucial part of this whole idea. Their behavior isn't really about you. Porcupines only attack as an absolute last resort. And get this, baby porcupines, which are called porcupets, are actually born with soft, flexible quills. Nobody is born difficult. It's the past hurts, the fears, the bad experiences. That's what makes that exterior get so hard and spiky. Their reaction is just them trying to protect themselves from what they think is a threat.
Okay, so we're starting to get the why, but now for the how. How on earth do you interact with a porcupine without getting pricked? Let's open up the toolkit. We've got some really practical, hands-on strategies to help them lower those quills.
Here's the core of the method in 3 steps. First, and I'm telling you this is the hardest part, you have to keep your own quills down. Your gut reaction is to get defensive too, right? Fight it. Just take a deep breath. Second, find their soft spot. Every porcupine has a soft, undefended underbelly. For people, this is a topic they're passionate about, a hobby, their kids, their favorite band. Bring that up. It shows you see them as a person. And third, deflect an attack with kindness. It's like a secret weapon. It instantly signals you're not a threat, and that can change the entire dynamic of the conversation.
This is one of those things you really have to let sink in. Their sour mood might have been triggered by something you did or said, but the reaction itself? That's about their own issues, their own history, their own fears. The more you can internalize that it's not a personal attack, the more energy you'll have to find a real path forward.
Let's add a few more tools to the kit. These are clutch. Instead of assuming you know what's going on, just ask. Let them tell you. And avoid blame at all costs. Any sentence that starts with, you did this or you always, is guaranteed to make their quills go straight up. Remember, the goal here isn't to win the argument. It's to understand. Sometimes the best move is to just be quiet and let them vent. And maybe the most important tool of all, always deal with the feeling first, before you ever try to solve the actual problem.
All right, now this is where things get really interesting. We've spent all this time talking about the porcupines out there, in our lives. But to really, truly master this, we have to start with the one porcupine we know best, the one inside ourselves.
I mean, let's be honest. We all have an inner porcupine. It pops out whenever we feel challenged or criticized, especially about our own sore spots. Someone points out a little habit you're self-conscious about, and boom, the quills come right up. So how do you handle that? Well, the whole process starts with some serious self-awareness. Step 1, you got to be brutally honest with yourself about your own weaknesses. What are your triggers? What are those sore spots for you? Step 2 is learning to recognize the signs that your own quills are coming up. Do you get irritable? Do you shut down and go quiet? And finally, step 3 is to ask yourself, why? What are you actually trying to protect in that moment? Because understanding your own defensiveness is the absolute key to having empathy for someone else's.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's really about a powerful shift in mindset. It's about moving from trying to manage difficult people to trying to understand frightened ones. It's about leading with empathy, for others and for yourself. If you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this. A porcupine's defensiveness is an emotional reaction.
It isn't a logical, calculated attack. It's almost always driven by fear. So if you can find a way to address and soothe that underlying emotion, you can short-circuit the entire defensive reaction. It's as simple and, yeah, as difficult as that.
And we'll end with this thought from Victor Hugo. Maybe the ultimate way to hug a porcupine is to give them that feeling that they are cared for, not because they're perfect, but in spite of all their quills. And maybe, in doing that, we can learn to offer ourselves that same kind of grace. So the next time you encounter a porcupine, instead of seeing their quills, what if you tried to see the fear behind them? That one little shift could change everything.